All right, people, we are live, and the first Ashes test is getting heated up. And it's getting more exciting than ever, just like we imagined.
Hoped, yes.
I don't know where that's coming from. There it is. Okay, I gotta close that YouTube. Okay, where is it? Where are you guys? Here we are. Okay, so the first test is evenly poised. Australia's done better than I or most would have thought, especially after the kind of start that they had, and especially the kind of aggressive cricket that England played on the first day. Aggressive declaration, but Australia, thanks to Khawaja, got really close to the target. I would say, well, it's even. First of all, let's just talk about how good was Usman Khawaja. Jono, oh no, not you, Jono. Jono, you talked him down, but John Richards, let's go to you first, because you said that you were more concerned about Usman Khawaja, and we didn't see it coming. And as we can see that Usman Khawaja in his press conference as well, he also said that, not that he had to prove a point, but I'm sure he had to prove a point, that people had been copping a lot of stick for not being able to do well in England. And I think he's the highest run scorer for Australia, but I don't know how these ratings work. The top three test batters are all Aussie test batters: Travis Head, Labuschagne, and Steve Smith. But I think Usman Khawaja is number 6 or 7 or something. But how good was he? And how did you see that coming?
Well, I don't know. I'm obviously a very good cricket pundit.
Well, or was that just a fluke? That was a huge six by.
Yeah, it was wonderful innings, wasn't it? I was just expecting something to happen on his front because, as you said, he scored everywhere else. It's just England that he hasn't so far. So it's bound to happen to England one day.
Yeah, but especially in a high voltage series like the Ashes, when the nerves are running high, first day or the first test match, and you're under a lot of pressure. He's been dropped like 6 or 7 times, and then he comes around and produces a Jaffa.
Yeah. So just imagine what would happen if he hadn't performed that well. I mean, the rest of the Australian team, they didn't do good, did they?
Well, Travis had scored a 50. Pat Cummins had a little cameo of 38. But yeah, you're right. Even after
take out Khawaja's, how am I saying it? Take his score out, and it's not a good performance.
Yeah, but even after he scored 100, or let's say if he had only made 60 or 70 runs, Australia still would have been in trouble. Jono, you got that wrong. How do you feel about Usman Khawaja now?
I don't mind. I quite like Khawaja. I remember back a few years there was a rain-delayed BBL game, and he did quite an emotional interview while the rain was on about how his Test career had ended. So he was just trying to make the most of playing his cricket while he could. He'd love to get back to Test cricket, but he didn't see it happening. And then, recalled last year the Sydney Test, peeled off 2 double tons, and he's been playing like God ever since. He just hasn't. He hadn't done it in England. He was terrible in 2013. He got dropped 2019 midway through the series. I'm happy to be proved wrong about him because he's a nice guy. Everyone likes him, and he played the second day. He played amazingly well. Anything short, he was quick to pull. A lot of shots through mid wicket. What I will say though was that he seemed like he'd lost his mojo yesterday morning. That first, I think maybe the first half an hour, Australia was still going okay while Carey was at the crease. I think Khawaja hit maybe his first runs were maybe a 6, but then after that, he just sort of started playing defensive, taking the odd single, and I think he only added 15 to his overnight score. And in the scheme of the game, that's actually slowed Australia down quite a bit. It was Cummins who gave the innings some impetus again, got it moving with some 6s.
2 6s that he hit to Moeen Ali.
Yeah. If Khawaja had kept going at the same rate he had done on the second day, then Australia would probably be 50, 100 runs ahead in this game.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Pakistani, so we are known for being a bit lazy sometimes. And as you can see, after 100 that he scored, he got bowled. That was a very lazy shot. Like I was like, whoa, hang on, is this like, okay, I've scored 100, that's it, time to move on? And then that was a very lazy shot. Luckily, that was a no ball from Stuart Broad. Okay, so
only just.
yeah, well, it's always cricket is a game of millimeters, as they say. But so it's safe to say that both you Poms enjoyed the thrashing that our boy gave to your bowlers.
Yes, I wouldn't have minded seeing him carry his bat all the way through. But the reason it slowed down was because they were tired. He particularly had spent all day almost in the field, from the previous evening through. He was.
And then he batted the whole day.
Exactly. Yes. So there you go. And but what this shows us is the difference in the run rate. You know, England was doing 5+. Australia was doing 3.5.
Yeah, but Australia doesn't have to play, you're in this infamous Bazball. Australia have to play their own brand of cricket. Speaking of brand of cricket, now we saw a bit of controversy yesterday when Usman Khawaja got bowled out by Ollie Robinson.
Yes.
And he gave him a send-off, which has been a talk of the town lately. Saying that to someone as nice as Usman Khawaja, calling him, dropping the F-bomb at him. And it's restarted the debate of what brand of cricket is being played now. Because Australia used to cop a lot of stick for that kind of cricket. I mean, who can forget Ricky Ponting's outburst? Who can forget Michael Clarke saying this to Jimmy Anderson? And things changed after that, especially Australia. I think in the pre-match press conference, Pat Cummins was asked, "Oh, okay, is it going to be a heated debate? Is it going to be a lot of sledging, etc.?" And then he said, "No, we haven't been playing that kind of cricket for the last 2 years, as you can see. So we're just going to play our brand of cricket, which is Pat Cummins is a very nice guy, and this whole Aussie team is not the team of yesteryears where it used to be in your face kind of attitude. Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath, Ponting, Clarke, they all used to sledge in your face. But this Australian team hasn't been playing like that. And now Rolls-Royce, Ollie Robinson, how do you see that? Was it necessary? Because I know fast bowlers, I get it. In the heat of the moment, they're trying to get someone out. Guys playing 140s totally destroyed your I wouldn't say totally destroyed your chances, but he's annoyed the English bowlers a lot. So was that necessary? How do you guys see as English fans?
I think for me it was it's a bit unnecessary. Everyone likes the old send-off, fine. When Jimmy bowled Alex Carey yesterday, gave him the absolute death stare as he ran past him cheering. That's fine. I think bringing that sort of language to the fields, I personally don't care for it too much. Robinson has form for this as well. There was a Sussex game a couple of years ago where he was going off at the opposition and the umpire as well when things weren't going his way. So I think he's got a bit to learn about maturity on the field. And I mean, it is people are making such a big thing out of this. I've seen on Twitter today, but
people are calling it racist as well, which is obviously we'll talk about it in a moment. But yeah, you're right. As the ambassador of your sports, and especially when you're doing really well, what kind of a look that brings, especially as an English cricketer, because English people, they're supposed to be the most civilized people on earth, supposedly. Right, teetotaling. John Richards, how do you go about that?
Well, I think it's shameful. In fact, I listened to Michael Vaughan recounting how things used to be back in his day. And he said, when I was playing against the Indian continental teams, I used to go in and say good morning to them, as I went into bat. And they would give a good morning back, hello. It was all friendly contest. But when I went to play against Australia, I said good morning as I went into bat, and I got this stony stare of hatred.
He's lucky if that's all he got.
It's a shame that since Australia's cleaned their act up and promised to be good boys, now we should go and spoil it.
That's the point that I was trying to make. So it seems like Ollie Robinson. Now let me be clear. I didn't see any racist attack or that kind of thing in this. Like it's just a verbal spat. Like bowlers, fast bowlers especially, are used to acting that way. Although that is being phased out and it's not being encouraged anymore. Gone are the days of. I mean, how good were the death stares of Curtly Ambrose? You know, like I was a kid back in the 90s and I used to be scared of him, but he would never say anything.
No.
He's just a towering figure and he bowls so well and the stumps go cartwheeling, flying. And then he just looks at you like this and it's like, whoa, that sends you shivers down your spine. But then we had other fast bowlers like, you know, they would be mouthing off at batters. But now that's all being phased out. And especially speaking of Ollie Robinson, he is John, or maybe you could shed some more light on that. He's obviously known for this kind of behavior, so he's been pulled up on that on his old tweets. So he has actually apologized for not this one. This is not a racist. There was nothing racist in this incident, but he has apparently made some racist comments in the past, such as this tweet back in 2012, September 5th, where he said, "My new Muslim friend is the bomb. We." So, and then using words, you know, other kind of words, etc., body shaming, fat shaming, etc. Is there, as English cricket fans, do you think there is a culture in English cricket, because we know Michael Vaughan was something happened with him too, like he called a Pakistani cricketer or something in a cricket club. Is there something that we should be watching out for?
He was cleared of that. Vaughan, he was absolved.
It wasn't necessarily cleared. They found there wasn't enough evidence. Two very different things.
Yes. Okay.
It's been a whole story for the last, I think, 2 years. Azim Rafiq played for Yorkshire. This is going back several years now, and made allegations, and actually did it in front of a select committee at the House of Commons as well, on the racism that he faced in the Yorkshire dressing room.
Yeah.
And when those allegations came out, like, so it was some really horrific stuff involving heroes of many English cricket fans. Michael Vaughan wasn't the only one. It wasn't Matthew Hoggard. There was another ex-England bowler as well who was drawn into it, as among other Yorkshire players. It was really disappointing. And Yorkshire Cricket Club itself has been undergoing a very inwards period of reflection about what it can do better. And I suspect that that's happening around the rest of the counties as well, lest they also face the same questions. But in terms of Ollie Robinson himself, I think those tweets came out just after he made his debut 2 years ago. And yeah, I think he'd just taken a bag for the wickets on debut as well, and then was immediately suspended for these tweets.
Oh, wow.
Which were made, I think, way before he was a professional cricket player. So you'd hope that the England media team have just been drilling him for the last couple of years to, firstly, to not say anything stupid, but also to actually reflect on what he said, how it was wrong, what he should be doing differently in the future. Yesterday, that send off. I think you're right. There aren't any racial connotations to telling Usman Khawaja to F off, you effing bleep. But is it a good look? No, of course not. Especially when you've had serious issues with things you've said publicly in the past.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a reputation. It's hard to shift. Yeah, the thing is that yes, that was a good send off. He should have been sent off. He was sent off. That was good. He shouldn't have said it. The trouble is that particularly fast bowlers need to feel anger against the opponents in order to channel that anger into their speed. And the other problem that we're facing here as a human culture is the boundary, the bar of what's acceptable has moved. And a lot of people haven't caught up yet, which is understandable.
Yeah, but let's just hope for the best, because obviously it's not a good look, and especially it's a learning curve for young cricketers out there. That these days, anything that you say, it can be held against you. It can be pulled up in future. So make sure you're careful with the words that you choose.
Including in the changing room and on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's just talk about cricket now. So, how are you guys seeing the game advancing now? Yesterday was a bit of a waste, but we did end up getting, which was a total surprise for me. There was a little opening of play, which I didn't get a chance to watch it live. But then Cummins, after a horrific defensive brand of cricket that they were playing, I was so disappointed. But then this happened. He nicked the ball, and again, another one that you don't like, Jono. You don't like Cammy Green. How's that catch? Did you like that one?
Hey, I have no problem with his gully fielding at all. He's definitely the best gully in the world at the moment.
And his 6'8" frame helps as well. That
Definitely.
reach.
I want to take issue with the thought that yesterday was a bit of a waste, because didn't it include a Labuschagne 0?
That was the day before, wasn't it?
That was the day before, but
it's all a blur to me. And
Yeah.
also, didn't it include 2 in a row to Brody?
oh,
That
was
was the day before as well. That
Was
was day 2.
it? But you got to tell your boy to bowl a legal delivery, keep his foot behind the line. Some part of it.
England
That's
have
not that
bowled
much.
a lot of no balls in this this game so far. A lot of no balls, and it's gonna. Yeah, we've already seen it's gonna cost them. I think it's happened to Ben Stokes a lot over the last couple of years, where he's bowled. He's taken wickets off of no balls. I think it's happened at least 3 times. So it's just it's something that's so basic. Just mark your run up, and
Yeah.
don't mark it to the centimetre. Mark it to half a foot or something. So it's really costly. But yeah, I also disagree. Yesterday was a bit of a waste, because England did really well with 3 middle pacers, one of whom's only hitting 80 miles an hour at the moment, to limit Australia to less than their score. I expected Australia to get at least 450, 500 after seeing the
Yeah.
first day. So
Yeah.
to get them out for less than our score was wonderful.
Yeah, but then the way Australians come back on the field with that defensive field, giving them easy singles, I was like, whoa, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Zach Crawley and
it was very strange passage of play
Yeah.
where Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett were just able to nurdle it around. They didn't even have to go for the power shots. I think Ben Duckett's 4 off Nathan Lyon, that sort of paddle over the shoulder,
yeah.
was the only boundary in that period. They were just happy to take the singles.
But Duckett had to cop that delivery from Cummins. But what about Zach Crawley sent crawling back to the pavilion? How about that one?
It
By Scotty
was
Boland.
absolutely magical ball from Boland. Like that's Crawley walked down, but that's just perfect. It just nipped away just enough, just to take the edge. It was one of those perfect deliveries.
Your Kent boy, I'm sure you'd be disappointed about that, because you were rooting for Zach Crawley a lot. So,
Well, he got runs in the first innings. It's okay.
Okay, but where do you boys see the game is heading? What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, neither of the two captains play for the draw. So it's going to be, they're going to push for a result. What's the forecast there anyway, John? Do you know?
Weather forecast.
Yeah, weather forecast.
That's the third team in this match, isn't it? I mean, yesterday the conditions changed so enormously. Suddenly they advantaged bowlers. Previously, it had just been a batsman's game, and I can tell you what the forecast is going to be in Edgbaston, and it's not good. Let me have a look.
There's a bit of rain about, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
I think there's a lot of rain tomorrow, potentially.
Oh, wow.
And you can tell there's going to be a bit of rain about, because Glastonbury starts in 2 days' time.
So can we drop the D word that is going to be a draw?
I suspect. I think for me, the draw is the most likely outcome today. Should England bat for 2 sessions? England will want to bat for 2 sessions anyway, but there's always the risk that Australia will run through them, especially if it's a cloudy day. We've seen the ball move when it's been cloudy. That first session on day 1, And yesterday afternoon when Crawley and Duckett were both out, that's purely lateral movement caused by the conditions. If it's like that against Day, England could well be bowled out before tea. If Boland and Cummins can do what they've been doing.
Actually,
Yeah.
the weather forecast isn't too bad.
Isn't too bad.
There's not too bad today. There's a 10%. This is Birmingham. There's a 10% chance of rain at midday, but from 2 o'clock onwards, there's 0% chance of rain. So
Okay.
So that's good. So, but there's going to be a cloud cover.
yeah, half cloud, half sun.
Okay, so that might help the seamers, and that, Jono, if we go by your earlier prediction that if England could possibly get all out by tea time, then we have a game on.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be. I suspect there will be another declaration coming from Stokes if England can bat past tea, and then we'll be down to seeing just how many runs England got, but also what the weather's doing tomorrow. Because it looked fairly bad when I looked it up earlier.
Yes. Tomorrow is
Tomorrow's bad.
It's from taking from 11 o'clock onwards. It's 70%, 56%, 52%, 32%. It's rain all day. Basically,
Okay.
Tomorrow's a washout. So the match has got to finish today, and it's looking disappointingly like a draw.
So could that mean that we could expect England to come out all guns blazing, try to get 150 runs in a session or something, and maybe put Australia to bat to get
at lunchtime, and then hope that they bowl them out? Yeah.
Wow. So you're telling me that it's going to be more exciting than it already is?
I hope so. Edge of seat. Get the edge of your seat ready.
Okay, all right, guys. So you heard it. So it's going to be a very exciting, possibly the last day of this first Test match, even though it's the fourth day. But it's because the weather is not looking good for tomorrow. So we're going to see a lot of aggressive cricket from the English batters. And let's see that Paddy Cummins does not go all defensive initially. He should be attacking. I hope. Yesterday's first hour of bowling was horrible. I don't know what they were doing. That was just way too defensive. That was not an Australian brand of cricket. But this is what shows that how this Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes union, what that has brought to cricket. Because Australia is not known to go on the defensive from the very first ball, especially when they're on par. It's not like Australia was like 200 runs behind. So that was very strange. And let's see, we don't see that again today. Let's hope we're going to see some aggressive cricket. Lots of wickets going to fall. Lots of runs going to fly. 4 6s, and hopefully we'll have the result today. And if there's a result today, we'll obviously we'll talk about the first Test match tomorrow. Any last words, boys?
No sledging.
Okay.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the field setting that Ben Stokes had set for the
Khawaja
wicket, which was just crazy.
Yeah.
3 fielders, like they're in the slips cordon at between sort of square leg and mid on, and then mid off and point. Wonderful.
He set the trap in. Yep, sorry.
Every match is a one-day style game for England at the moment.
Yeah, he set the trap and he just walked through it. And I was listening to Ollie Robinson, and he was saying that, I bowled a Yorker because Stokes told him, and he set that field, and he said Stokes ends up looking like a genius, which he is. So let's see how genius he is. Come on, Aussies.